On today's guide, do you feel puzzled by text messages? Our step-by-step guide to sending text messages on your mobile phone will get you started. We also have a really useful guide to topping up your mobile when you run out of credit. And we discovered that there are many ways to go back to learning.
A recent survey found that there are nearly 4 million mobile phones in Ireland. That's just about one for every person in the country, with nearly 95% of people owning one. Some of us even have more than one mobile phone. The mobile has become a must-have accessory for young people, and there have even been reports from undertakers that people have requested that when they die, they be buried with their beloved phones. A typical mobile phone owner sends an average of over 90 text messages a month. Mobile phones are an excellent and instant way for parents to stay in touch with children and are now used as a means of security for parents. But in order for that to work, we have to have our phones in credit. There are lots of different phone companies, different ways of paying, bill pay, pay as you go. If you're pay as you go and, like me, you send somebody out to get credit for you, here's a really useful guide to topping up your mobile phone.
I'm sorry, you are out of credit. Please top up.
Why is it you always run out of credit on your mobile phone at the worst possible time? If you've got a mobile phone and you need to buy credit to make calls, you can guarantee you'll run out of credit just when you need to make an important call or text.
Sorry, you have insufficient credit for this call.
Most people would top up their phone by buying credit at a newsagent, supermarket or corner shop.
Hello, may I have a top up for my phone, please?
Sure, what network do you need?
O2.
For what value?
€10, please.
€10, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once you've bought the credit, you need to follow the instructions in order to top up your phone.
1741.
To top up using a top-up card, press 1. Please enter the 12-digit top-up code.
Your top-up code is a 12-digit number and is usually in a bigger font than the rest of the information on the card. You can also top up your phone at a top-up station or an ATM. But none of these are very convenient if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, you can now top up your phone using a credit or debit card. Not everyone has a credit card, but quite often the card you use for taking out cash also doubles as a debit card. You'll need to register the card first by calling your network provider or going online.
How can I help you?
I want to register my card to top up my mobile phone.
Is it a debit or credit card that you're registering?
Debit.
When registering your card, you will be asked for the card number, expiry date and name on the card.
It's Brendan Snake.
You will then be given an access code whenever you want to top up. Once you've done that, you can top up your phone anywhere at any time. If you're more of a texter than a talker, you can buy bundles of text messages with your call credit.
Hiya.
Right, would I be able to have €10 please?
10 years always 7 bet, is it?
Yes, please.
You seem to be always in here buying credit.
Ah, yeah, busy.
A lot of people to ring, is it?
No, text.
You text, do you?
Yeah.
Do you buy text bundles?
No.
Do you know what text bundles are?
No.
Well, what text bundles are is you buy a whole load of text messages all at once. Would you send a lot of text messages?
Yeah, about 10 a day.
10?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you'd want to be buying the biggest amount. You can buy a text bundle for €20, and for €20 you get 400 text messages. Normally text messages cost 13 cents. Buying them in 400 will actually cost you 5 cents per text message. And how you actually buy them is you can either come into us here and we'll set them on for you here, or you can ring Vodafone. You can also text them. Now if you don't send that many, if you always send like maybe 100 or 200, you can also buy them in lower.
Right, thanks.
Okay?
There are different ways of getting text bundles depending on your network provider,
Thank you.
so it's best to contact them to find out more.
Hello?
Sorry, I ran out of credit.
I ran out of credit too.
Oh, did you? Oh, well, anyway, I'll meet you in 2 minutes.
Market Square.
Right, see you there. Bye.
It's always worth having a look into how you can save money with your prepaid phone. And if for some reason you can't top up, most networks now have a facility where you can send a free text message asking someone to call you, which doesn't help, of course, if they've run out of credit too.
Well, joining us in studio now are Frances Ward, who's chairperson of NALA, and Sheila De Valera, TD, Minister of State at the Department of Education and Science, with special responsibility for adult education, youth affairs and educational disadvantage. Did I get that right, Minister?
You did indeed,
it's
Flora,
quite
yes.
a title. Can you tell us a bit about why the government funds adult education?
Well, back in 1997, there was this OECD report which showed that 25% of the Irish population really had difficulty when it came to reading and writing.
That many?
Yes, and that was a wake-up call. We realised then that we would have to make literacy the top priority in government, and indeed we have done that. And we have ensured, first and foremost, obviously, that there is enough funding, or a good deal of funding, and the funding has been increased significantly from 1997, where there was £1 million available for literacy programmes. Now, I'm glad to say, in 2006, we have 23 million at our disposal. It will never be enough, of course, and as Minister, I'll be looking for even more monies to spend in the whole area of adult and further education.
Because it is so important.
Yes, but literacy has to be our top priority and is our top priority.
It's a basic starting point, I guess.
It's a basic starting point, and if we're talking about, giving people an opportunity to participate both socially and economically within our society, well then we have to give people the tools to do just that.
A very important part of the whole education field is NALA, and Frances, you are chairperson of NALA. What exactly is it?
Well, NALA stands for the National Adult Literacy Agency, and it was set up in 1980 to make people aware of the literacy difficulties of adults. And since then, it has been working, around awareness raising for adults with literacy difficulties, and also as a lobbying body to talk to the department about putting extra funds in. And it has also been involved very much in kind of, training in the area, and coming up with research, new ways of approaching, learning and
Programmes
all of that.
like this, I suppose?
Programmes like this, and we were involved previous to this with Read Right Now over 5 years.
How do we compare with other European countries?
Well, the Minister has already mentioned the 1997 IELTS report, and on that we actually didn't score very well compared with other European countries, and I think that we were second only to Portugal. We were
at the bottom of the
table. The bottom of the table. So, as the Minister said, that was a real wake-up call for everybody involved, to realise that something really had to be done here. Now, since then, there hasn't really been a survey since, so we're not quite sure how we fare at the moment. But
your hopes are that we've climbed up?
Well, certainly we would hope so, yes.
How many people in Ireland now are availing of adult learning?
I think at this point, people availing of the literacy services of the VEC, there would be about, I think, 33,000 people involved at the moment.
How important is adult learning to the state?
Well, of course it's important for the state, but I think education has to first and foremost be for the individual, and I think that's where we have always put the emphasis on giving each individual the opportunity to learn, and that indeed is giving the freedom to that particular person. And that's why it's very interesting to notice the increase in the numbers of people who have come into adult literacy, for example. I mean, we're talking about nearly 35,000 people that now avail of the services, and there's an awful lot of services out there for people who may have very little skill when it comes to reading and writing. And people shouldn't feel in any way, embarrassed about that, because there are lots of people, and in particularly those that may need a one-to-one tuition, first of all, to start off and to be able to work up their skills. And this is done by over 5,500 volunteers throughout the country. And I think it's very important to recognise the tremendous work that we do there. The volunteers do. It's not us, it's the volunteers themselves.
That fits into the Taoiseach's notion that he's plugging of getting involved in society and responsibility.
Well, if we're talking about participation and active citizenship, well then, as I say, you have to give people an opportunity to take part. And one of those areas is, of course, the whole question of literacy. But I think it's important to know that there are all sorts of programmes out there for people who may have literacy problems, for people who left school early and wish to do some state examinations, for example. There's VTOS courses for people who have been unemployed for quite some some time and who are over the age of 21. And I notice an awful lot of young women also take advantage of coming in to such courses as VITAS and also the Traveller Centres, because in those particular areas where Youth Reach, VITAS and the Traveller Centres are concerned, there is also a provision for childcare, and we in the Department of Education recognise the importance of childcare and have been trying to help out with funding there as well.
That frees up so many women and men who may be minding children to be able to avail of the courses.
Absolutely, because I think any programme that we put on for further education has to acknowledge first and foremost that whatever level of education people are at when they want to come back into education, they have other responsibilities and other interests in life. And so we have to be flexible enough in the Department of Education to be able to work around those particular obligations of the individuals who want to partake.
These days, mobile phones are used for far more than just talking to people. Nowadays, we can look up the internet, play games, take photos. We use them as alarm clocks, as calculators and diaries. But one of the most used features in Ireland is sending a text message. If you've never sent one before, this next piece will get you started.
We here in Ireland have a real love affair with our mobile phones. And we particularly love sending text messages.
24 hours a day I text, full-time textaholic.
I just use it all the time, use the texting all the time, morning, noon and night.
And what do we text about?
We text about various different things, just about how friends are getting on in exams.
Anything strange, anything happening.
I promise I didn't mean it last night.
The telephone keypad was originally designed for dialing numbers, not for typing in text. Because there are 26 letters in the alphabet, there simply aren't enough buttons to go around. So, each button is used for more than one letter. The number 2 button is used for A, B, and C. The number 3 button is for D, E, and F, and so on to cover the whole alphabet. One of the most common text messages sent has to be, "Where are you?" when one person is trying to find another. To type in, "Where are you?" W is the first letter on the number 9 key, so you press it once to get W. H is the second letter on the number 4 key, so you press 4 2 times to get H. 3 2 times to get E. 7 3 times to get R. And 3 2 times to get E again. You press 0 to get a space. On this phone, the full stops and other punctuation marks are on the number 1 key, so press it a few times until the question mark appears. You could use short forms to save having to press so many keys. So instead of writing the full word "are", you could use the letter "or". And instead of the full word "you", you could just use the letter "u". Sometimes the short form of a word is made up of numbers and letters. So, later is written L8 or later. Call me tomorrow ends up as call me tomorrow. These short forms of words are generally only used for text, and not everyone likes them.
That's the only thing actually I don't like, is the short forms. I don't understand the abbreviations.
I actually use the short form of words. It's much easier to use.
It's the younger people, I think, use the shortened version of words.